Hey,
everybody.
everybody. Oh, go ahead, Kevin. You can introduce us.
Oh, I said, okay. Hey, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Joanna, would you like to introduce our fabulous guest for today?
I would. This is Anna Frolik. She is a friend of mine. I met her through a deck creators website. And I don't even know how I got there, but I did. It seems like that's my whole life. So Anna has created a new deck. It's
Oh,
about the fairies, and we're going to talk to her about that today. I'm very excited. I think all
mm,
of our listeners and watchers are going to be so excited because
I
we
know I
just
am.
love that.
I'm curious about your process, Anna, and curious about what inspired you, etc., etc.
Yeah, so that's a long story. And first of all, I just want to say thank you for having me on this call today. I'm super excited and very
Thank you for
grateful
coming.
for the
Ah,
opportunity to introduce my new deck. So this is the Oracle of the Magical Fairy Forest. And I guess there are quite a few parts to this story, but I feel like even, looking back, even back to my childhood, I've always had this fascination. I loved connecting with angels and fairies, and I enjoyed fairy tales. So that was always kind of part of my being. But about 15 years ago or so, I embarked on a new journey in my life, and I started my own business. That was kind of the first step. And about a year into my business, so back then, I took what I knew from corporate. I started my own copywriting business, but then I hit a wall and I felt like there was something else. Like initially, I felt like I just wanted to free up more time for my, yeah, like for my passions, for travels and so on. But then it resulted in a spiritual awakening that led me to a totally different path. And so I started working with angels and doing healing work and intuitive readings, and I started working with card decks. So yeah, and one thing led to the next because I'd always been a creative person, and I had the inspiration to create my own deck. And so I created my first deck a pretty long time ago. I think it was back in 2012. But for the past 6 years, I've been mostly working with clients to help them bring their decks to life. And so my creativity got a little bit, put on the back burner for quite some time. It's been a great journey of learning and creating a lot of things. But this past year, I finally knew that it was time to bring this deck to life and to work a little bit more on my own projects. And that's been a really beautiful, rewarding journey. And now we're here. This is my first printed sample, and we're launching it on Kickstarter right now.
Oh,
so
so how do people find it? Well, I'm curious now about the Kickstarter program because, or the process of it, because I've heard a lot of folks do Kickstarter, mostly good things, and then some that are a little more tedious.
Yeah, so it's been definitely a learning curve for me. The Kickstarter, this is actually my very first Kickstarter. I haven't done any before. And it's been an amazing experience. And it's actually going a lot better than I expected. So that's great. And we hit our funding goal in less than 24 hours, which is
Wow.
the ideal
yeah,
situation because then Kickstarter will start, promoting more from their end and bringing people in. So we're almost 200% funded now, 199 today. So that's
Wow.
awesome.
I have
Um,
to say, I got to watch it in real time. You getting funded like 100%. It was amazing. So, and congratulations.
Yeah, yeah,
Thank
yeah, for
you.
sure. For sure.
The-
So how long have you had this idea for this deck in your noggin, in your mind, in yourself?
It's definitely been a long time coming. I knew that the next time I would create a deck of my own, it would be an elemental deck. Initially, I thought it was probably going to be an elf themed deck, but then this past fall, my partner and I were house sitting or pet sitting on a beautiful private island in northern Ontario. It was, this magical world with mossy forests and mushrooms, and so it was
And
just
I know half of
perfect.
our audience right now is closing their eyes, going, maybe not even closing
And
their
like it
eyes.
was really magical, like even crystals everywhere. And then I don't know, it just came to me. We did a medicine journey there too, and then it just came through like very naturally. And I knew, okay, it's time to create the deck now. It's going to be a fairy deck. And then I started creating immediately. So
Do
I
you
started bringing.
do you do your own artwork?
No, I was just gonna get into that. So I wrote the content initially, and I have a really gifted illustrator and graphic designer I've been working with for the past 3 years or so. She helped to create quite a few decks for my clients as well. And she's really into fairies and elemental, yeah, like fantasy
They're,
art,
they're
and
beautiful.
she's really good at drawing animals and that kind of thing. So she's perfect for this
Yes,
kind of.
she is. And I know a whole bunch of our friends, Kevin and I have friends that we're taking a course right now, and next part of it is fairies.
Yeah, for
Awesome.
sure.
So I want everybody to go out and get this deck. Go on Kickstarter, get the deck. But it's beautiful.
It is. It's gorgeous.
And it couldn't happen to a nicer person. So
Oh, thank you.
Is this your first and only deck so far?
No, I created my first deck in 2012, and well, started creating 2012. I think I published it in 2013 or 2014, and I've made quite a few decks since then. But this is definitely a next level production. So, when I first got started, I got it printed by the Game Crafter. It's like a print on demand site in the US. And now I have a lot of connections because I've been working with manufacturers that specialize in these kinds of productions, and it's highly customized. And so, yeah, I feel really blessed. I know the whole process and have all the resources I need. So this really helped to make it a very easy and enjoyable process.
So if somebody out there wanted to create a deck, we'll say, how much of their work do they already have to have before they go to a developer or a creator? Yeah, I guess it would be a producer, really. Would they have to have all the images or or just the concept and the outline?
Yeah, so it really depends, but typically I would say a clear vision is a good place to start. So typically when I work with people to help them create their decks, especially in a private done-for-you setting, then I definitely need a clear vision. But beyond that, they don't really have to have anything created yet. So we do pretty much everything together. Sometimes I do appreciate it if they have their content ready for the guidebook and for the cards, so we have a bit of a head start. But other than that, we design, everything together. So we develop the artwork and the layout for all the components of the deck. I've also worked with some artists who created their own artwork, and now I'm also focusing more on group work, which is how I met Joanna.
Yeah.
She's in our Deck Creators Mastermind / Launchpad. And so there you have a little bit more flexibility. So even if you haven't really started yet and you don't even have a clear vision yet, you can come in and we help you develop the vision and get clear on, all the most important things that you need to know before you get started. Like, who is the deck for? What's the big vision for it? And all the things that you need. And then we can connect you with an artist or, and
So
all the people you need.
So then
they have everything. They have everything, really. I mean, Anna's thought of it all. So, but I want to go back to your childhood. You said something about you were always intrigued with fairies and the elementals. And are you an only child?
No, I have a younger brother.
Okay. And where did you guys grow up?
Actually, I was born in Switzerland and I lived there for the first 11 years of my life. And then just before I turned 12, I came to Canada. And yeah, so long journey, but that's
a beautiful journey. And I've been to Switzerland, so I know that it's a magical place. I could just see all the fairies and the unicorns just popping up now.
Did any of that time in Switzerland as a child, did it kind of influence, or did you bring some of those elements into this deck?
That is a good question. So I think there are two parts here. I grew up with parents who were really open, spiritually. And like back then it was pretty unusual. Like most people were just, going to church and doing all the traditional things. But my parents were pretty conscious spiritually. And so I kind of got a head start there. And I was surrounded by people who, believed in angels and beings from the other realms. So that kind of helped to open me up a little bit when I was younger, and I'd always had, a bit of a connection to the spiritual world. But I feel more geographically speaking, I feel that connection opened more when I came back to Canada, because I spent quite a lot of time in BC. And, on the West Coast, we have the beautiful magical forests and the moss and the trees and the mushrooms. And so I feel that world for me really represents the elemental magic a lot more than what I grew up with in Switzerland, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. Well, for me, there is a definite difference between the angelic realm and the elemental realm.
There you go.
In the relatability.
You have to go back just a second because you froze for a second. Did he freeze for you too, Anna, or just for me? Okay.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
Did you catch that?
No, I didn't. Did you, Anna?
No, I missed the first part of the sentence.
Oh, I said, well, for me, there is definitely a difference between the angelic realm and the elemental realm when it comes to the interest in fairies and what they offer, what they bring to life. I grew up in England, so like a child, I would do all the things with fairies at the bottom of the garden, and I always just assumed that other children did too. And then as I got older, that, like for most people, became less and less important. I wasn't really so much into the angelic realms until here recently, maybe the last 8-10 years. Did you stick to the 44 card formula, or did you deviate from it?
Actually, for this deck, this is the first deck that I've created for myself that has 44 cards. I will say that we just added a stretch goal to our Kickstarter. So when we hit that goal, then we'll add an additional card just for the Kickstarter backers. So it'll be 45, but then the regular deck will be 44.
That's
okay,
so
come on, people, because I want that extra card.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going to happen.
Yeah, I know it's going to happen. Yeah.
Like I didn't want to set it too high because I really want that extra card. So my guess is that we'll hit it within the next week, max 2.
I don't think it's going to take that long.
For those that are tuning in, how far off are you on your goal? And today is, where are we at? The
19th.
19th of June.
Yep, the 19th of June.
So we have 22 more days to go. It ends on July 12th.
And how far away from your goal? You said you're at 200% funded?
Yeah, so just before the call I checked, we're 199% funded. So we hit the funding goal already before the end of day 1, basically. But the next stretch goal is 444 Canadian, and we're about 7,000 away from that.
The next goal for the next deck, or the next
goal? No, that's for the extra card. So that's a stretch goal. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but I know you're going to make it. I know this is going to make it. So
how was that process of getting into Kickstarter for you? Was it difficult? Was it challenging?
It was actually surprisingly easy. I feel like everything since I started working on this deck just flowed so easily and so magically. And I have so much support around me. Also in our deck creators community, I'm collaborating with Heath Armstrong and Jason Berwick, who created a company named Rage Create, and they've done quite a few Kickstarters before. So I got a lot of, helpful advice from them and some pointers very early on. A really tiny thing that made a huge difference for me, and that I just kind of, I don't know, that was kind of a piece of advice that just came in quite randomly, but start building a following directly on Kickstarter early. So I started like building my pre-launch following about 6 months before the actual Kickstarter launch, and that really helped. So that can give you a boost in the beginning. And so just a lot of little things to pay attention to. I also spend a lot of time studying other Kickstarters, and just something I enjoy. I always, enjoy researching and getting inspired by what other people do and what works for them, and then ultimately also following my own inspiration and intuition with it. But I didn't expect it to go this well, honestly. Like in my mind, I was like, okay, I'm happy if we just hit the funding goal. And I thought, well, maybe we'll just hit it right before the end, because it happens for quite a few creators. But yeah, I got a big boost in the beginning, and I'm really grateful for that. So,
you said earlier that you collaborated with other people on their decks. Have they also used Kickstarter, or did they do some other kind of funding?
I feel like I've only had one client who did a Kickstarter. That was in the very beginning, and well, she successfully funded her deck with a Kickstarter. I maybe had one other client who tried, but she didn't really have a strategy behind it. She just kind of rushed into it, and then like she didn't hit her goal. I think she only just gave herself a maybe 10-day window and didn't prepare.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things definitely to know about Kickstarter. Like if you do it well, it can be extremely helpful, but you really have to have all the pieces in place. And I think it really paid off for me to, prepare well for it, and to take my time to set it up properly and to promote properly. So.
And I think this is where you're going to plug. I have to plug you on your other business here, because this is where you guys have set it up. Like if anybody's thinking about making a journal, a deck, anything related to really anything to put out there for anybody, we'll put your information down there and they can reach you guys, but they've got it set. I mean, this is who you want to go to. This is like,
thank you. And I agree. We have a lot of experience between the three of us. We've covered a lot of, created our own decks and launched on Kickstarter. And Heath and Jason, like together, I think they've raised over $200,000 US on Kickstarter for all of their decks.
Wow.
Now, I have all the Rage Creates, and I'm going to get all of yours too, Anna, just so you know, and just so everyone else can go out there and get all of your decks. I just think, like, I know Heath, I don't know Jason yet, but oh my gosh, if you working with them is just amazing.
And they are a company called
John Mothershead did his deck with them. So
okay,
we'll give a shout out to John too.
John Mothershead. I don't have it in front of me, but his deck, I tongue in cheek, when I started using it, I truly did not like it. The shape, the way they slide all over the place, and now it is one of my go-tos. It is one I use more, which I found in the years of reading cards. The decks that I find the most challenging are the ones that I end up having to learn more about.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, so John, he took my course before we launched the Deck Creators Launchpad, but he's in there with us now too. We had him on our podcast recently. So yeah, I know who he is.
Yep. He's a good friend of ours. Yeah.
How often do you offer courses?
Yeah, so the course is available now. It's always like it's evergreen at this point. You can find it on my website, wonderlandpublishing.net. Then the mastermind is currently, we're making over our offers in our website. We're probably going to relaunch. So the Deck Creators Launchpad, we're probably going to relaunch sometime in the fall, so September, around that time. Yeah, so that would be with the community and group support and all that included.
What is your most favorite thing to do? A bit of everything, or is there one particular thing that you love?
Well, I'm really an explorer, so I think what's important for me is if I do the same thing again and again for too long, I get bored pretty easily. So I just need to keep exploring new
You have
things.
to be a Sag. Are you a Sag?
I'm
What
not.
part of you is?
No, I'm a Cancer sun. But yeah, I don't know if you know anything about human design. I'm a
Little
1-3
bit.
generator, so the 1-3 profile really has that explorer. So the
I'm a
one
1-3 also.
you are okay, cool. So yeah, the one likes to, research and learn about new things, and the 3 loves the experience, and the 3 on the unconscious side will just naturally draw you to new experiences. I don't even have to look for new things. I'll just bump into them. So creating card decks is definitely one of my favorite things, but I always need something new to learn. Even with client projects, I can't like do the same thing over and over again. Whenever I get a new project and there's something new for me to explore there, then that's a good project for me for expansion. But if it feels like I've done this a million times, then I don't really want to do this.
So, what about creating a board game, like a fantasy board game for, I don't know, 2 to 6 players? And that just came out the top of my head.
Fairy with her
I
deck.
love that idea, and I've actually I've been talking to my graphic designer about it. So Anna, who illustrated this deck. So we've talked about a lot of different ideas for, products to expand into, from creating puzzles based on the art of the deck, but also definitely games. I feel like that's been something that's been kind of in the back of my mind for quite a long time already. The time has just not come yet, but it's definitely something that I would enjoy exploring at some point.
There are so many digital games out there that people play, obviously online, and they have like streaming with each other. But the art of what I would consider traditional board game seems to have taken a back seat. And I'm just wondering if that kind of old traditional type of community game playing will come back. Just curious.
Well, actually, if you go on Kickstarter, you'll see that many of the highest funded projects are board games or those types of games. So there's still a big market for those games. And there are people who just love probably, collecting games or puzzles and I think the puzzles are really coming back too. I see them everywhere here. I feel like people are, getting a little bit fed up with always doing everything online, and there's definitely a demand for, well, first of all, more social interaction in person. That's one thing, and also just doing more with our hands, off the computer, off our phone, and it's kind of that meditative quality as well. So yeah, I feel like there's an evolution there, where we're just going back a little bit more, or people do.
Being with your community, I think, is very important.
Well, that's almost been predicted by astrologers, psychics, mediums. They've all said, we're moving into the era of creating our own communities.
Right.
Yes, that's been, something I've actually been exploring with my partner. It's a little bit like a different part of my journey, but we've been talking about, well, coming together with some people. It's already happening. We've connected with some people who are also interested in potentially creating an intentional community, which doesn't have anything to do with creating decks, but a lot I could share there. But I feel like there's definitely.
I love that idea because I've been thinking the same thing myself. So another So, do you want to pull some cards, show everybody your beautiful deck? I mean,
Absolutely.
uh,
So maybe I'll just show you some cards first,
sure.
and maybe just some little components of the deck as well.
How
So
about, can you show everybody how because this is my absolute favorite box. This is my favorite box. So I'm so glad you chose this one. I knew you would.
yeah, I really felt like I wanted to get this kind of box. A lot of my clients love these book style boxes too. Well, they open really easily, but you can also get creative with them, and they're a little bit more, like not so mainstream.
I love the color of the box. It's sort of like mysterious and inviting all at the same time.
And you're in a forest. Yeah, I'm in that forest with you.
Yeah, and then we have there's a little guidebook included with extended meanings of the cards, and then, well, the cards themselves. Here's the card back, and here's one of the cards. And then once we sent the deck to the printer for the first test print, and then all of a sudden I had this inspiration to create a journal, like a companion journal for the deck. So here's the first sample of that. And it's also available in the Kickstarter. I just felt like I wanted to do something a little bit more with the illustrations. I'll just show you. Where is it? Okay, just a second. So just the full color book with the illustrations. So they just really come out, and then it's like a little bit like an extended guidebook with some additional messages and little practices that you can implement.
It's like an adventure story.
And then journaling questions for each card.
Is that beautiful?
It is. It is.
It's gorgeous.
I love
and I know a whole bunch of us that are going to use this for Bradley's class.
For his class, these journaling books?
Sure. These cards too.
Oh, for sure. Yes. I am one of these really weird people that doesn't like to mess up the workbooks. I like to keep them without writing or scribbling on them,
I know exactly what you're talking about. When I got the sample, I knew I needed to test, how easy it is to write in it. It took so much like working through resistance, just put a little.
So for people like me and you,
in the back.
For people like us, I think maybe a spiral, so we can keep that one like, nice and pristine, and the spiral maybe to like, I don't know. I know it's a lot. It's just gorgeous.
This is delightful. It is delightful.
It is.
Yeah, so I'll just show you a few of the cards as well. So here's just one that popped up, and every card has a story behind it. They're all really inspired by my journey, by life itself, and their little stories. This one, I don't know if you can see it, has.
I see the image, but not what it's called.
Oh, it's the young wizard.
Okay.
And so the wizard here is making a drink. It's like a magic potion, but it's inspired by the cacao drinks that, my partner made every morning when I first got here, but now we just make our own drinks every morning, and then our cat is next to it as well.
Oh.
So that's one of them. Here's another one.
Now, is there a card? Is there a card that's you?
Yeah, I feel quite a few of them, but this one is definitely inspired by me. This is kind of from the experience on the magical island that I told you about when I was picking mushrooms on the island. And yeah, so there are quite a few red-haired fairies in here.
I think we just saw one too with the open heart. She had a heart.
Yeah.
And I think she was a redhead. I think that was a card I just saw.
Yes.
Wow. Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Oh,
And yeah, there's some more psychedelic ones as well. Here's one of them.
so this Oracle deck is one for people who of all different types of ability, whether you're a seasoned medium or whether you're just getting started, because this looks like one of those decks that anyone could pick up, well, no matter what experience they've got with divination.
Yeah, I would definitely say like anyone who feels drawn to the deck. I mean, you can use it in so many ways. You can just pull cards, read the messages on the cards. Maybe, be for someone who just enjoys artwork of elementals and fairies. And I mean, the guidebook explains, in easy words, easy to understand words, some suggestions for working with the cards and some spreads and how to get started. But yeah, I feel like it's really for anyone who feels inspired to work with
I think they're
with a
perfect
deck.
for children too.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, so we also created some other products as add-ons for the Kickstarter, and I'm working on setting up a shop as well for additional products. And one of the add-ons that we have in the Kickstarter is a woven blanket, the magical forest blanket. It might be hard for me to show
have
it
it
to you here on
handy?
the call. I have it here, but it's
Okay.
so hard because it's so
It's
big. It's
big.
hard to
It's so
show it.
big.
The only way I could show it to you is maybe screen share a picture of it. But that one would be a really great product for kids as well.
That just means they have to go to the Kickstarter or they have to go to your website.
Yeah.
Oh.
Listen, I got it all. So I got one of those. I got the package, the big package. So I didn't want to miss out on
Yay.
anything.
And I think at this time around the world, this is so needed. The joy, the happiness,
Oh, yeah.
just the magic of it. People are looking for something that's not so heavy,
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really the subtitle of the deck is Ancient Elemental Wisdom for the New Earth. So it's really helping to anchor in that new energy of, the new world that we're creating. And it's based on, a lot of, well, my own experiences, but also all the wisdom that I've channeled through and received through, my soul in the past 15 years or so and past lifetimes as well. But I feel that's another reason why it's really a deck that anybody could work with because it's not just a divination deck. It's like if you read the messages, it's really every message kind of holds a key to that new way of being that we're anchoring in, and that really allows us to, yeah, like bring in a new way of living together and living on this planet. So it feels really important. I've been, on this journey for a long time, but I feel like in the past years, so it's really come back. I feel like, okay, it's time to share more.
Is there a link to the Kickstarter on your website?
Yeah, there is. So I have two websites. One of them is annafrolik.com, which is where like my more personal website, and then wonderlandpublishing.net. And on both of these, you'll find the link to the Kickstarter on the homepage.
I love the name of that company, Wonderland Publishing.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant. Yeah. I was just going to say to anyone out there that's listening, if you're thinking that the divination tools are something that are not spiritual, not spiritual, against God or against whatever, they're not. and that's my opinion. But I was raised Greek Orthodox and Southern Baptist. So I came from a very, very religious background. And in Orthodoxy, you have angels and saints and everybody's talking to everybody. I mean, there's no, but then on the other end, it was, no, you don't talk about stuff like that. So when I first started doing decks, I got a whole bunch of, what are you doing? This is the devil's work. No, whatever brings you closer to the divine for me is brilliant, and it's what we need to be doing. And it brings us all, I see us all as like gold and silver threads, and we're just getting closer and closer, and we're weaving ourselves together. And if this is something that brings us to do that,
Well, I mean, fairy stories,
have been around.
and enchantments, spells, all of this stuff, magic, the lot, has been in existence for centuries. I mean, those who know what Glastonbury is in England, which is not too far from where I'm from, well, that's where it is, all those crazy magical wells. So I think religion, just like politics, tries to control people's creativity. And I'm a firm believer you cannot control creativity. Eventually, it's just going to burst open.
And
Oh,
and
this is so
wonderful,
delightful.
wonderful.
Yeah. This is so delightful. You must be incredibly proud of doing all of this.
I'm just really grateful. I feel that's what I'm mainly feeling, just for really following my inner guidance and my inner voice that was just saying it's time to set myself free to, liberate my creativity ultimately, and really bring all those inspired ideas to life, where I just felt kind of trapped for quite a long time, where I was just, doing a lot of creative work for other people. And for a while, I really enjoyed it, but I just felt like, okay, I had so many ideas, and then I didn't really have the space to bring them to life. So I'm just really grateful that this journey unfolded so beautifully, and yeah, it almost feels like it's, in a lot of ways it just flowed through me more than I created it intentionally or consciously, if that makes sense. So if I
It
could,
does.
through a whole process, I could feel like, something greater was really wanting this to happen, because I got so much support from so many unexpected places. And yeah, there's many stories I could tell you.
The synchronicities always happen, right? It's magic.
Is there an average time span from start to finish, from the initial concept to the final product, that, so many people go down in so many different directions when they're creating, and you think some people say it came along really quick, like those who write books say it just flowed out of, which I think most creativity does flow out. But the whole process from the concept to having it in your hand, is that a long process?
Yeah, as you said, it really depends on what you're creating, what your goals are as well. So I feel like for this deck, I mean, a lot of people would say it happened really quickly. For me, it was one of the longer projects, but mostly because I really wanted to do things properly to prepare for the Kickstarter. But we started about 9 months ago, so it's been fairly quick in that way. The illustrations were done, yeah, a while ago already. I think maybe in February or March we finished, and then I got the first sample printed, and so just really trusted the timing, and then knew, okay, June 11th we're starting the Kickstarter. But I mean, working with clients, typically it's about 6 months, and it really depends on the complexity of the illustrations as well. Anna Babich, who helped me design and illustrate the deck, and like both of us, we are fast movers, I would say. Like, we create really quickly, and like when we work with clients, if we have someone who's a fast mover too, then we can move quickly. And sometimes we have people who need a little bit more time to develop everything and to feel into things. So yeah, it really depends. But I know people who've published decks and maybe worked on it for 2 years or longer. So there's really no rule. Some people get it done within a month or 2 months or 3 months. So it really varies.
I have several decks written, Anna, so it's just a matter of getting them to you.
I can't wait for yours.
This is lovely. I am just so excited.
Mhm.
Do you want me to pull some cards? I kind of, when you asked me,
Of course, yeah, but
I just
I
started showing you the deck, but I still felt like
no, I think everybody
cards.
loves seeing that.
Okay. Yes, yes, yes. I'm intrigued now.
You ready?
Hmm.
Okay, so I'm just going to start by pulling a card for everyone who watches this video, and that includes the
And
three
this
of
is
us as well.
timeless, so whenever you're watching it,
Yeah, and I always like to say, so if you want, you can, well, take a quick moment to close your eyes and breathe and center yourself. And if you want, you can set an intention or ask a question, and then simply trust that whatever message is meant for you will come through. And you can allow yourself to receive whatever resonates with you most. That is what you need to hear right now. I'm one of those endless shufflers. I always have to remind myself I'm live on a call. Okay, here we go. All right, so we've got the wise leader.
wow.
Mm.
And it's card number 7. I'll read the message. Lead with courage and compassion. Embody what you teach. So I feel this is a really, really important one right now. I mean, for all of us individually, but also in terms of, how things are going in politics. We don't really have a lot of good role models of this type of leadership. So there are quite a few aspects to this card, but ultimately, this is knowing that when we truly lead from our hearts and not based on our programming or what's expected from us, by society or the people around us or whatever it is, then we're always guided in the right direction. There's also an element of really stepping into our wise self and kind of moving away from, good versus bad or one side versus the other. I feel like a lot of that is playing out, and especially in politics right now. Like one side is okay, we feel like we have the only truth, and the other side is we feel like we have the only truth, and then we're just fighting each other. But it's really just feeding the same energy regardless of where you're at. So this is a unifying energy that kind of chooses that. Well, you could call it the middle path, but it's like a different path where we realize that everything is connected at a deep level and on a higher level and on all levels, and we're all ultimately one and the same being. So what we see playing out is a mirror of our own being on some level, and then collectively as well. So yeah,
That's
there's a lot
interesting.
more I could say.
I'm a life path 7. And my year, I was thinking about just as you were talking, my word for the year is enchanted.
Oh,
Yeah, I love this. I love this so much.
mm. It's glorious, glorious, glorious.
Yeah.
Mm.
I want to, if we still have some time,
Yeah,
Of
yeah, yeah.
course.
thought I would just look up the entry in the journal as well. So
I love that journal.
here
Oh,
it is.
Look at that.
Well, you can see it. I can read a little bit from the journal to you and then just read the questions as well for inspiration. So, the wise leader, do not be led astray by chaos and drama, whether within your mind or in the world around you. Return to your calm, clear center and listen to the voice of your true being within your heart. Be the leader you were born to be. Walk your talk. Forge your own path with love and wisdom. Inspire others to do the same simply by being your most sovereign and empowered self. And this is also really a card about authenticity, like knowing that we really lead by example more than, leading others. It's really leading ourselves and then inspiring others. And then there's a practice that for each of the cards in the journal. Like some of these are more like spiritual practices like visualizations or guided meditations, and some are more like practical, focused on implementing in our daily lives. I'll just read it to you. So this is more of a visualization. Imagine yourself as a being of royal majesty, perhaps an animal of the magical forest representing leadership, or another noble being that reflects the sovereignty of your soul. What do you see and feel? Find ways to embody your divine power in your daily life, inspired by your vision.
Wow.
And the affirmation for this card is, I lead with love and wisdom. So there's a lot.
They have affirmations with them too.
Yeah, so the affirmations are in the guidebook as well, but just felt like I wanted to include them in the journal too.
Wow.
Beautiful.
All of this has a wonderful light vibrational energy to it. Yeah. Just by looking at the cards and listening to you and describe the process, I'm already transported somewhere else.
Oh, and when she reads her book and voice, and you just can sit back and hear Anna's voice, that'd be fantastic. I love Audible, so I'm waiting, Anna. Wouldn't that be great?
Do you have any closing questions, Joanna?
I just no. I think this is amazing. I was so looking forward to this. I was telling both of you know on here, but I don't know, our listeners don't know. Today I had an infusion, and it doesn't usually take as long as it did today. I went in at 12, didn't get done till 4. And I was like, oh my gosh, I got to do this because this is something that brings me joy. I got to get home and do this. So
and it happens when it's meant to happen.
Oh yeah, but I'm all about doing what brings you joy, and
we're all about that, which is
yes.
What that card to me just said. You're leading by the example. When folks go to see, how is it you're so cheerful? How is it you're so filled with joy? And what is it that you're doing? And that's where you get the opportunity to stand and say, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm into. This is what I believe in. This is what and you can't help it. You start saying, I tell friends of mine, I traded the yoga studio where I used to teach yoga and the hair salon for angels and fairy dust. I mean, it was like, this was a natural progression during the pandemic. Let me talk to fairies and angels, because they were making more sense than the World Wide Health Organization.
Yeah, I can relate to that for sure.
All right. It's been a pleasure to get to know you, Anna. I cannot wait to get my hands on this deck, the book. And are there different tiers on Kickstarter? Like, how do you get the book, the workbook, the blanket, the whole thing?
Yeah, so you can just go to the Kickstarter page. Again, I'll just maybe mention my 2 websites, and you can find a link to the Kickstarter there. I think that's the easiest. If the video is on YouTube, you can link the Kickstarter directly there too. So annafrolik.com or wonderlandpublishing.net. And if you're watching it on YouTube, you can find the link to the Kickstarter there. I have quite a few reward tiers. So there's everything from just getting one deck, getting the deck and the journal as a bundle, getting multiple decks. And then there's some bundles with, the blanket included and some other rewards. You can go check it out.
I have to tell you, when everybody sees that blanket, first of all, it's huge. It's not just like a little throw. It's huge. I think I'm going to have to get some for my girls.
Is it like a picnic blanket?
Yeah, you could use it as that.
Yeah.
Wow.
If you have a moment, I can maybe share my screen and just pull it up so I can show it to you so it's not so abstract. Let me just...
And there's nothing wrong with starting your holiday shopping in July.
Well, that
Exactly.
Christmas in July, right?
Yeah, we're right on top of it. It's what most
That's
people do.
Do I have permission to share my screen?
You're gonna have to do that, Kevin.
Oh, hang
I
on.
think I may have. Let me see. I think I can share it.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I got it.
Perfect.
So
There it is.
here's the blanket.
Oh, wow. Oh, and I like how it's in a rocking chair. You're so creative with, okay, this is what we need to do. Here you have your cup of cocoa in the cool, cool evening with your blanket and your
Yeah.
journal and your cards. Yes, so when the power gets cut off, this is what you do.
Exactly.
I saw this and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to look at the heart in the center of the tree. Now, those of us that go out and talk to trees and hug trees and go out and earth themselves all day long and, lay in the grass and, I just saw that and I was like,
You want that.
I want it.
Yeah, baby. Yeah. Now, at my house, I'm going to have to be careful with it because with 7 dogs, that's going to end up, they're all going to fight over who's going to lay on it. So it'll have to be put probably back over there with Theodore in the corner there. I'll let him cuddle up with it.
Aw.
All right, then. I think that's it from me. How about you, Joanna? Got anything last remarks?
No, thank you, Anna, for coming on today.
Thank you.
It's been such a pleasure.
This has been delightful.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity to meet with you both, and it was really nice to connect with you and to share the magic with the world. And
And for those watching, don't forget to go down to the description on the YouTube where you can find the website and the Kickstarter and go ahead and order you whatever goodies you want. All right, that's it from me. Thank you.
Don't forget that we're always here. We see you, we hear you, we feel you, we love you. And this is the Unicorn and a Fairy.
All right. Bye.
Bye.